What is up, football fans? Big Al here. It is Football Sunday, October the 4th, 2020, and we got some schedule changes from week 4 in the NFL, and two of these games have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. Starting off with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Tennessee Titans, I told you earlier this week that the game has been postponed because 11 players and staff members for the Titans tested positive for the coronavirus and had forced the NFL to move this game from today till week 7. So now it's on the schedule for Sunday, October 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Now keep in mind, week 7 was Tennessee's scheduled week off. So that's the first of these changes. The next few changes occurred within the last 24 hours or so. Starting off with the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. They were supposed to play at 4:25 Eastern Time this afternoon, but word came down yesterday that New England quarterback Cam Newton also tested positive for COVID-19 and may have infected some of his Patriot teammates. But that's not set in stone. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, their game at Arrowhead Stadium has been moved from 4:25 p.m. this afternoon until 7 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. That's 6 p.m. locally in Kansas City. And the game will be televised nationally on CBS. So it will not just be seen in the Boston and Kansas City markets. It will be seen nationwide. All right. As a result of that, CBS moved the Indianapolis Colts Chicago Bears game at Soldier Field into that late 4:25 Eastern Time window. And it's also prompted the NFL to move this week's scheduled Monday night game between the Atlanta Falcons and Green Bay Packers from 8:15 Eastern Time tomorrow to 8:50. So they'll be kicking that game off 35 minutes later than what you normally would see on a Monday night. And many of the areas that was slated to air the Patriots and Chiefs as part of Game 2 of CBS's doubleheader have been switched to the Buffalo Bills and Las Vegas Raiders game, and that includes us here in Phoenix. So that means Channel 5 will be airing the Raiders game later this afternoon. Now, there are some changes with the Fox schedule as well, as WZTV in Nashville, WPGH in Pittsburgh, WFLD in Chicago, and WXIN in Indianapolis, along with the local Fox stations in both Beaumont and Victoria, Texas, all have been switched to the Cleveland Browns-Dallas Cowboys game, which is slated to kick off here in about 30 minutes. The Fox stations in Chicago, Indianapolis, Nashville, and Pittsburgh were all slated to air the Giants-Rams game at 4:05 Eastern Time, 3:05 Central. But again, those 4 stations have since been switched to the Browns and Cowboys. The 2 Fox stations in Texas, Beaumont and Victoria to be exact, they were slated to air the Minnesota Vikings-Houston Texans game, but they too have been switched to the Cleveland-Dallas game. And then the final change involves KTXL TV, the local Fox station in Sacramento. They were slated to air the Giants. They are now slated to air the Giants and the Rams. They have been switched from the Seattle Seahawks and Miami Dolphins game. So once again, a quick recap to the schedule changes across the NFL here in Week 4, and it's been a very tumultuous lead up to Week 4. As again, the Steelers and Titans game, which was slated to kick off in 30 minutes in Nashville, has been pushed back to Sunday, October 25th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time from Nissan Stadium. And again, Week 7 was supposed to be the Titans' scheduled week off. The Patriots-Chiefs game was slated to be moved, or was slated to air this afternoon at 4:25 as the feature game of the second part of CBS's doubleheader. That has now been pushed back to tomorrow night at 7 Eastern Time, and it will be nationally televised on CBS. Again, it will not just air locally in both Boston and Kansas City, it will air nationwide. And this comes after Cam Newton tested positive for COVID-19. So that move necessitated CBS to move the Indianapolis Colts Chicago Bears game into that late window at 4:25 Eastern Time. And then Monday night's scheduled game with the Falcons and Packers has been pushed back 35 minutes from 8:15 Eastern Time to 8:50 on Monday night. The area slated to air New England, Kansas City in the late window this afternoon have been shifted over to the Buffalo Bills and Las Vegas Raiders. Then again, the Fox stations in Chicago, Indianapolis, Nashville, and Pittsburgh, as well as Victoria and Beaumont, Texas, they have been moved to the Cleveland Browns-Dallas Cowboys game, with the 4 Fox affiliates in the major markets switching over from the Giants-Rams game, and the 2 smaller Fox stations in Texas moving over from the Vikings and Texans. And finally, KTXL TV in Sacramento, which was originally slated to air the Seahawks and Dolphins, they will now broadcast the Giants and Rams at 1:05 p.m. Pacific Time up in Sacramento. Oh, and one more note I want to put in there too. The Patriots, from what I understand, they will not be flying out to Kansas City until tomorrow morning. So this is pretty unprecedented to have a team who is scheduled to play a road game to be flying out to the city in which they're supposed to play on game day. They're usually flying out like the day before. But in this instance, with COVID-19 running rampant, that forced the Patriots to at least stay in Foxborough through at least tomorrow morning. So they will be flying out to Kansas City tomorrow. Alright, so those are your Week 4 schedule changes in the NFL. Quite a bit to unpack there, as you heard. Alright, like, comment, subscribe to my channel, ring the bell twice, and get notified every time I drop a live vid. This is Big Al signing off. Enjoy the pigskin, folks. I will chat at you later. Peace out.